Hi, my name is Christine L. Conroy. Yes, and this is a check-in video for those of you who are joining me intermittent fasting and also on the glucose goddess method. Now, even if you're not doing those two things, stick with us because you might want to join us. I'll leave the videos, the links to the videos down below that I'm going to be talking about today, so that if you are not yet fasting and don't even know what the glucose method is, the glucose goddess method is, I'll leave links to both videos down below. I promise you won't be sorry. Okay, so the intermittent fasting then, how is that going for you? I wanted to talk about it today because I wanted to mention the fact that for me, it's a little bit erratic in as much as my intention is to do the 16-8 method. What I'm struggling with, I can't eat my main meal in the evening at the same time every night. In fact, sometimes it varies. You know, it might be 6:30, it could be 8 o'clock. Because the nature of my day job, which involves interior design, means visiting people's homes in the evening. And so we have to fit our evening meal around that. Now, I'm okay with not snacking at night time after my evening meal. I have no problem with that whatsoever. So I like to have my last meal at, let's say, 6:30. And then more often than not, if I can, I want to eat breakfast 11 o'clock the following day. It doesn't always happen that way. Then, obviously, if I don't eat till 8 o'clock at night, then I have to push my breakfast back the next day. Now, if I have to push it back to, say, 12 o'clock, that's fine. For some reason, I struggle then, pushing it back to 1 o'clock. Which is strange because at one point I was doing the 2-day fast, which is what Mr. Kitchen does at the moment. And that is a 24-hour fast for 2 days, not back to back. I might try to get back into that, but for now I am doing the 18-6, which sometimes, 16-8 rather, which sometimes turns into the 18-6. Now, it feels as though it's a little bit erratic, but when I think about it, if you remember, this is the book, If You're Not Fasting, that I suggest you get. Dr. Mindy Pelz explains everything you need to know about fasting, and she seems to be the authority on fasting, especially for women, and especially for women over 50, because obviously after menopause, everything changes. Now, she actually suggests in this book that if you are over a certain age or postmenopausal, then you shouldn't fast all the time. You should kind of trick your body by sometimes fasting, sometimes not. And I guess that what's happening to me, or the way I'm trying to work it into my life, is that's exactly what's happening. Why I wanted to mention it to you is talking to people who say things to me like, I couldn't manage to do it at this time or that time. Don't give it up just because you can't have your meal at 6:30 and then have breakfast at a certain time the next day. You have to adapt these things to suit your life, not the other way around, although I have been doing that with the glucose goddess. I'll come on to that in a second. So do the fasting however it suits you, is what I'm saying. And that's what I'm doing with the intermittent fasting. And I don't want to stop it because I have to say, I feel so much better. I feel so much better not eating to that extent. Now, when I talk to women about it, I've had people say to me, I couldn't do that. I'd just get too hungry. And then if you're hungry by 10 o'clock, you're going to be starving by lunchtime. That's not the way it works. And certainly I haven't found that. Yes, I start to feel hungry, but the hunger does abate. You get over it. And then I tell myself, when I get those feelings of hunger, this is when it's doing me good. This is what it's about. And that's how I see myself through the hunger. And then the hunger goes away and you extend a little bit further. So that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm fitting it into my lifestyle, by sometimes eating at 6:30, sometimes eating at 8 o'clock, and then sometimes having my first meal the next day, anything between 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. so far it's suiting me. How are you getting on with it? Please let me know in the comments box how you're getting on with the intermittent fasting. Now, in addition to that, after the video, not last week, the week before, that I did on sugar, I told you that I was starting this, which is Jessie Inchauspe's Glucose Goddess Method. Now, if you've not seen the video on sugar, please watch it down below. I can't go into detail about this in this video, so watch that video first and then come back to this one, or watch this first and then go back to that one. But you do need to watch the one on sugar. Speaking about that, this last weekend, which in the UK was glorious, we went across to Wales in the UK, which is just over the border from where I live now, in fact. And we went to, now I don't know if some of you may remember a series in the 1960s called The Prisoner by what I used to think was the gorgeous, sophisticated Patrick McGoohan. And he made this village famous, really. It's called Port Merion. And some of you may be familiar with Port Merion pottery. That's where it comes from. So the architect of this village, William Clough Ellis, I do believe his name, was an architect in the 1920s and 30s. And why I'm interested in him is he wanted to show that architecture and our surroundings and environment could be uplifting, fun, and colourful. And so he kind of created this vision, which was absolutely amazing. And it became Port Merion, and now it's a tourist village. And if you've never been to Port Merion and you come to the UK, then it's worth a trip. And for those of you in the UK, it isn't that far. And it's quite lovely. I mean, it is a tourist village, but to think it was designed and, built in the 1920s and 30s, it's quite spectacular, I think. And the scenery is superb in Wales anyway. Why am I telling you that story? Because when we were there and it was so warm, people were sitting at the tables outside the cafes, the children drinking fizzy drinks. And we're walking past and, it breaks my heart. And Mr. Kitchen just, don't, as if I'm going to go over to the table and say, please don't give your children fizzy drinks, or watch this video. I'm not going to do that, but it does break my heart. And the number of people since that video who've said to me, oh my goodness, I knew there was sugar in fizzy drinks, but I did not know it was so much. So yeah, watch that video. And that's why I was telling you the story about where we were in Wales. So this then, the Glucose Goddess Method. Now it's a 4-week method. This is how she describes it in the book. Again, I'll leave the link down below, where you start doing this week 1, then start doing this in addition week 2, then week 3, then week 4. It hasn't worked out like that for me. It's taken me a while to get into the habit of doing the first thing, which, if you remember, I'd started already. I'd been doing it about a week, which is having a tablespoonful of vinegar in sparkling water. Sounds ghastly. It isn't. And I did that for about a week, but then I started to get heartburn, which I don't suffer with normally, and wondered what it was. Put it down to the vinegar. Now, I haven't looked into that yet, but I will do. So what I did do was reduce the amount of vinegar down to a teaspoon in sparkling water. It's quite refreshing, actually, about 10 minutes before you eat. The other thing was that I think she suggests in the book, or I've heard her talk about, which I couldn't do, we went out to eat to a restaurant and I'd forgotten to drink the vinegar beforehand. And I said to Mr. Kitchen, I wonder if I should ask for some vinegar and some sparkling water. But I didn't. I will do next time because it makes you feel so good. I feel so good drinking that first before eating. It's something I intend to keep doing. So I will build back up to a tablespoon, but for me, I think it was a little bit too much for my system. Have you found that? Or anything like that? Let me know. The next thing was having vegetables or a crudité before your main course. I haven't managed to do that. I did start by eating a few sticks of celery and carrots before the main meal, But I don't always have time to do that, and I kept forgetting. But what I am doing to start with is eating the vegetables on the plate first. Now, how good that is, I don't know, but I'm doing it anyway. So I eat the vegetables first and then eat the rest of the main meal. I will try to do it as suggested in the book. The next thing was the movement. Now, I've changed my way of doing things a little bit for this, because what would happen for me, I would get up in the morning and do my yoga. But because I don't eat in the morning till 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, and Jessie and Inchauspe suggests that you get moving within 90 minutes after you've eaten. And that's the meal I can do that on quite easily. So I've moved my yoga routine to be within 90 minutes after I've had my breakfast, and that's working out quite nicely too. Tell me how you're getting on, and if you've managed to slip these, like, because it needs to become a habit. Like all the things that I suggest, or the only things I suggest to you, are the ones that I'm doing myself, but that are life-changing, lifelong habits, not dieting, things you can slip into your normal routine that will help you. These two things fit that bill brilliantly. I like them. I like the science in this. That's why I like Jessie and Inchauspe, and I like the science here that Mindy Pelz always talks about in her videos too. I'll leave the links to these two books down below. So please tell me how you're getting on. You know, it's a very strange thing to do, to sit in a room and talk to yourself when you're doing YouTube videos. It's even stranger when nobody talks back to you. Please talk to me and let me know how you're getting on. And if you've not started doing it, tell me that, because I need to know these things. And to all of you new subscribers that have come along and joined us, thank you so much over the last month. Please tell us where you come from. I love to know where my audience is from, and if there's anything you would like me to cover within the umbrella of getting happy, living longer and growing younger, and positive aging, please let me know, and I will endeavour to cover your issue in one of my videos. So that's where I am with the intermittent fasting and with the glucose goddess. I'm struggling with the carbohydrate situation, hence the name, the title of the video. I am addicted to bread. I love bread, particularly wholemeal bread, whole wheat bread. So what I'm doing is following the advice in here is not to eat naked carbs. So when I have toast for breakfast, then I will have it with feta cheese or cottage cheese, which is lovely. Egg on toast, of course, is a good one to do, and avocado on toast. That's what I'm doing at the moment, not eating naked carbs, as Inchauspe calls it. I will switch my breakfast at some point, but for the moment I just enjoy toast. So, as I say, I'm finding a way to be able to eat what I want, but follow this and follow this. Okay, I'll leave it there. Questions, comments, please leave them down in the comments box below. I need to know I'm on the right track. And I'll see you next time with some very exciting news that I can't wait to tell you about. I'll see you then, and until then, remember that on the Happy Stuff and Fluff, we're getting happy, living longer and growing younger. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.